in Tokyo for the 2024 All Japan Koi Show. Apologies, the live stream started a little bit later than planned. Judges are just coming into the hall now, just finished their meeting. So they're just all walking through. Sorry about that. Yes, all the judges are just walking through now to congregate in the centre of the main area where they'll receive their final instructions before the voting for the Grand Champion begins. So there's a total of 80 judges in the blue jackets, plus there's one head judge, which is the... So I'll try and talk in between the official announcements. So yeah, as I was saying, there's 80 judges in the blue jackets, plus one head judge, which is the governor of Niigata Prefecture. The judges are split up into 12 groups, with one foreign judge from in each group. The groups are decided just now in the judges' meeting. Everyone picks a lottery to find out which group they're in. Basically because each judging group is assigned different sizes, so to make it fair, it's not pre-decided who can judge which group or which size of koi. They pick the lottery to decide which group they're in, and then the size of koi they judge later in the day is allocated to them. But anyway, that's a little bit too much for the live stream. We're just going to cover the Grand Champion judging and what they call the Jumbo Champion, which is basically the runner-up, the reserve Grand Champion. So while they're just getting themselves ready, we'll just take a quick look around what they're going to be doing next. All the koi in the show are divided into various different size vats. There's 5 different groups of vats. So technically the Grand Champion can come from... So as I was saying, technically the Grand Champion can come from...
And now we start for judge for the Grand Champion. So you have for this board, you have to like size, variety, and entry number, not full number, entry number. So size, variety, entry number, please. And please go out if you are not judged, if you are not video. Please go out from the show place.
はい、それではこれより開始いたします。マナ副理事長の、先導のもと、一般の先生から順番に、一番部の方から学んでいただきます。それではよろしくお願いします。
Maybe I'll leave some of the explanation till the judges start walking around the vats and there's no announcing taking place. So the judges all heading off now. So as I was saying, technically the Grand Champion can be any koi that's entered into the show regardless of size. But realistically, it's going to come from one of these vats that have the red signs. There's 196 of these vats for the judges to walk around. These all hold the largest koi. Each vat can hold up to 3 koi and cost very expensive. One of these vats,
関係者以外の方、ワンションをつけてない方、退出の方お願いします。
150,000 yen entry fee for one of these vats with a maximum of 3 fish inside. So it's not cheap to enter the show. So what's going to happen now is the judges file around all of these vats, probably take about 15 minutes or so, look at each koi and
はい、
assess
ワンショ
them.
ンをつけてない部外者の方、直ちに退場の方お願いします。
As I say, there's 196 vats for them to look through. And as you probably heard being announced just now, each vat has a number and then each koi has an entry number. So what the judges will do is write the entry number onto a voting slip of the koi they've selected for Grand Champion. And then the votes will be counted in probably about 15 minutes or so. Try and get out of the way a little bit. So as you can see, we've got quite a few press here as well, taking pictures, making videos for all the magazines. So if we look around, this whole area is the larger 1.8 metre vats that the judges need to check every one, make their decision. You see the guys around in red jackets. These are the Shinkokai directors, the Breeders Association. So they're not actually allowed to participate as a judge themselves. They just oversee what's going on. You'll also see some guys in green jackets, which are the assistants. They're guys that move the fish around. In a minute, the nominated koi will be moved into these vats, this row of 5 vats here. So the green jacket guys assist with that. And then there's guys which you'll see over on the far side with orange jackets. They're basically for the health of the koi. So throughout the whole show, they're always checking the vats, making sure all the koi look okay, water's okay, etc. If anyone's got any questions or comments or anything, please make a note of them. I'm not going to have a chance to look at them right now, but we'll review them after the live stream, either answer them in the comments or maybe do another Q&A live stream later to answer everything. Also, a bit of feedback would be good to let the Shinkokai know whether this is something that was interesting, whether you want them to do it again next year. So good or bad, leave some comments, let us know. Anything that could be improved. So while the judges are taking a look at the koi, maybe we'll run along some vats ourselves. Obviously at the moment all the information about the koi is kept secret. Nobody knows who the, or you're supposedly not supposed to know who the owners are, who the breeders are and who entered the koi, the handlers, etc. So that the judging's not influenced. So at the moment, as you can see on the entry sheets, it's just literally the entry number, the size category and the variety. As you can see, there's a huge amount of koi for them to choose from. There's a new size category in the show this year, 95 Bu. Bu meaning class category. A lot of people confuse it for CM, but although it's referring to the size, Bu just means class category. So, for example, if you see like this fish here is in the 80 Bu class, so that is for koi up to 80 cm in size. Anything over 80 cm will go into the next size up. So the new size category of 95 Bu is basically for everything over 90 centimetres. Many of the koi are over the 95. There's also one more variety been added this year now, so there's now 22 different varieties of koi, or koi category should we say. So a little bit more info about the show. We've got a total of 646 vats of koi this year, which is 49, I think, more than last year. So a huge, huge amount of entries. I think a total of 2,034 koi being entered. Realistically, the grand champion will be one of the three Go Sankei varieties, Kohaku, Sankei, Showa. And generally it comes from the largest size group, which is now the 95 Bu class. Previously 90 Bu was the largest. Occasionally you do find that a koi in the 85 Bu class will win. So this year I think we've got, of the Go Sankei varieties, we've got 20 in the 95 Bu class. So 20 Go Sankei that are over 90 cm. And then 22 that are in the 90 Bu class, so that's over 85 cm. And then a further 30 in the 85 Bu class, which is anything from 80 to 85 cm. So although there's been some talk about a few favourites, there is quite a few koi to be considered. So hopefully now we'll find that, just try and scoot through without getting in other cameramen's way. Still looking around, nobody's made it back to the centre area yet. This is where all the judges will congregate again once they've made their decision. In previous years, the judges would each put their voting slip into one of these boxes that you can see on the table. I think it was last year they changed it, so now that all of the judges in each group will give their slips to their head judge, and then they put all the slips in at once into the box. It just speeds things up because it took quite a while for 81 people to individually enter their votes. So it looks like the first group are pretty much making their way to the end. In previous years, this area here, this first section, is where all the larger vats are held. But this year, because there's more, there is a further few vats in the next section along, so they've still got a way to go before they finish. So apologies, this is going to take a little while. But obviously they do need to look at every koi. Go and take a little bit of a walk round behind them and show you a few more of the fish. Maybe a little bit more interesting than the judges' faces. So starting from vat number 1. appreciate, obviously it'd be good if I could give you some information about some of the fish, but as I mentioned just now, at the moment, because judging's taking place, we're not allowed to give any information out about the owners or breeders, etc. And one thing to also bear in mind is, even though the Grand Champion will be announced in the live stream, it is actually a provisional result. Judging doesn't finish until 4 o'clock this afternoon, or around that time. So until judging's finished and all signed off, technically the Grand Champion is only provisional. It's only once all the paperwork's signed off at the end of judging that officially it becomes the Grand Champion of the Koi Show. So here we see, this is the first time this has happened, Futoshi Mano from Dainichi just explaining to the judges that they need to go down this this row as well, which is something they wouldn't normally have to do. We go from VAT number 165 through over there to 196. So as Group 1's going up there, hopefully it's not going to be much longer before we get to something a little bit more exciting, where the actual votes start taking place. As I mentioned a little bit before, if you've got any questions, any feedback at all, please do leave it in the comments and we'll look through them after the live stream's finished and try and answer any questions anyone's got. So I mentioned earlier about the cost of one of these vats is 150,000 yen, which works out about, I think, about 830 UK pounds. So I was doing some calculations yesterday about the total number of vats in the show and how much that costs. So just for these larger vats, I think it works out at almost 30 million yen, which is about 165,000 pounds, just the entry fees for these larger vats that are being judged at the moment. The smaller vats are obviously a bit cheaper. Some of the very small vats, the smaller fish are judged in bags. So there's a VAT fee and also a fee per fish to cover the cost of the fish being bagged up and all the associated labour required, etc. So I think we worked out that just for the pool entries, the total pools for the show, 57 million yen, which is about 320,000 pounds. So that's crazy amount of money that's income, but then obviously the show costs a huge amount to put on. So most of the judges now heading up to those last pools up the top that I just showed you. Group number 1 moving over to the middle now, so that means they've all finished looking around and made their decisions. So we'll head over in that direction, and hopefully it won't be too long before all the judges are back. So as I mentioned earlier, the guys in the red jackets are the Shinkokai directors overseeing the event. Guys in the green jackets there, the assistants. Throughout the day they'll be walking around with the groups of judges with iPads, directing them to which VAT they need to be looking at for each group they're judging. And there's some guys over in the back in the orange jackets, which are the guys in charge of the health of the koi, making sure everything's okay throughout the weekend. And then you've got 4 of the breeders up the front. They are the admin staff. They're responsible for the judging itself, counting the votes, recording all the results. I'm just trying to get everyone back to the centre now so we can get the first round of judging underway. So once again, what's going to happen is each judge will write the number of the koi that they've selected onto their voting slip, give it to their head judge, and all of those will be entered into these boxes here, which, as you can see, they're purposefully laid out in this way so people know they're empty. Make sure everything's fair. And then when the slips are counted, everyone will stand around to block so nobody can see who's voted for who. It's all kept very secret. For the Grand Champion to win, it requires over 50% of the votes. Let's maybe jump up on the stage so that I can give you a better overview. Official Japanese press. So yeah, for a fish to be crowned as Grand Champion, it requires over 50% of the votes, so 41 votes. If one koi in this first round doesn't get that many votes, what will happen is the top up to 5 koi will be selected, and then they will all be, those koi will be moved into 5 vats just at the back of the judges, just behind all the vats where the major awards go. And then the second round of judging will take place.
はい、すみません、先生方、先ほど見てそこの A ブロック以外にも向こうに3列、最大部、いますけど、きちんとチェックしたかお願いします。チェックしてない方いたらもう一度、見ていただいてお願いします。
So the second round works in exactly the same way. The judges will look at those 5 koi, write the entry number, well, they'll write the pool number down from 1 to 5. The votes will be counted, and once again, one koi will require over 50% of the votes. And if that doesn't happen, then the lowest koi gets removed. It's a very complex process, probably a little bit boring to explain, but sometimes it can be immediately reduced down to 2 koi. Sometimes they just take away the lowest scorer, all depending on how many fish get percentage of votes.
投票は班長さんが、皆さんの分、まとめて投票していただきますので、ご記入終わり次第、班長さんの方に集めてください。 まだ奥の方に3列、プールがあります。 。チェックしてない先生、チェックの方お願いします。
So I'm just going to keep quiet for a minute because there'll probably be quite a little bit of announcing. So it looks like something's gone a bit wrong. A few of the judges just going back to double check their choice.
審査長は審査長いらっしゃいますか。
So hopefully not too much longer, and the votes will just be cast and counted.
すみません、もう少しこちらに詰めてもらって、12分がちょっと入れないので、はい、いいです。すみません。
Just making a bit of space for the last judges to come back. Look like Group 12 were the ones that had to head back up to the vats up the top. Maybe they didn't realise they were supposed to look at those vats as well. As you can see, I mentioned there's 12 groups of judges, so they all line up in order with the head judge at the front. The judging groups are not all the same number of judges. Some groups.
が終わりましたら、班長さんの方に、今日投票用紙の方を集めてください。
Some groups of judges, you have 9 judges, some groups 7 and some 5. And that's all down to the size of koi that group is judging. Because obviously as you get to the bigger koi, there's not so many to judge. These guys got a very busy day ahead of them. As I mentioned earlier, judging won't finish till about 4 o'clock this afternoon. There's a lot of prizes they have to decide on throughout the day.
はい、12班の先生、全員いるか確認お願いします。また投票用紙の方を班長さんに集めてください。お願いします。
Just stand back a bit so they don't think I'm getting too close to being able to see the actual voting slips.
それでは、全体総合優勝の投票を行います。代表キャップの方、投票の方、一般の先生からお願いします。
So finally, here we go. Head judges from each group putting all the slips from each of their group judges into the box. So that's all the judges' votes cast, and now we have the head judges' vote. And apologies.
あとメディアの方、投票用紙開けるときはちょっとストップ。
So as I said, they now want to block that so nobody can actually see who's voting what. So we're just going to go and stand back out of the way a little bit. It all is kept very secretive, so nobody knows exactly who's voted for which koi, which is good. It's the way it should be. I was just saying, apologies, I made a bit of an error earlier on saying the head judge was the Niigata Prefecture head. Is actually Professor Suga this time. So that was the guy in the blue jacket that cast his vote last, so that we've got an odd number of votes. See Maruyama-san just subtly moved into place just to make sure that the camera's not picking up any of the votes, which is good. We don't want to break any of the rules while we're doing this. Yes. Shouldn't be too long now and we'll get the results of the first round of voting. It's very rare that a koi will be crowned grand champion from the first round. Usually it's at least 2 or 3 rounds. But the next rounds will be much quicker because the fish are moved up to the vats at the front, so the judges can just quickly walk through, look at up to 5 fish and then make their choice. So much quicker than what you've been watching so far. So for anyone that wasn't aware, this area that we're in is where all the champion koi are moved to later. So all of these pools that you see around here empty at the moment. Later in the day, once judging is complete, all the fish are moved here. So you just have 1 fish in a tank. The only fish that remain in their pools are the fish that win the first, second and third prizes for the best in size and variety. And in this central area, we have the major awards, the Grand Champion and the Jumbo Champion, Superior, Mature, Adult, Young, Baby, etc. Over on the far side over there is where the Kokugyo Awards go, which are the National Fish Awards, the overall best in size fish. And behind that is what's called the Shubetsu, which is the best in variety koi. And then over on this side, we have the Miyabi, Sakura, Tsubaki and Botan champions, which are of the 22 different varieties. They're all broken down into the 4 groups. So you have a champion of each size in each of those 4 groups. A little bit too much to try and explain in detail throughout this, but if anyone's interested, let me know, just make a comment and I'll try and explain on another video. It looks like they've all been counted and agreed. Shouldn't be too much longer. See some of the press now moving up, ready to get pictures of the koi being brought down. So we'll pop up there in a second. Just wait to see which koi are announced. Looks like just a few double checks are being made. Sorry about this, guys, a bit of a delay, obviously out of my control. Hopefully won't be much longer. We'll just take a bit of a wander up round the back. Looks like already some of the fish are being moved while they're deciding on what's happening with the last couple of votes. So this is, as you can see, the 5 vats. I'll try and find out later what the issue is with the voting numbers. Mention it in the comments. But at least they're moving forward anyway with moving some of the fish ready. As you can see, biosecurity is very important at the show. alcohol sprayed on everything. Take a quick look at the first few fish that have been moved across.
はい、それでは、ノミネート後に3匹上がりました。準備ができましたので、一般の先生からすみません、あちらの方、1番、2番、3番の、声チェックの方お願いします。
So it's just been decided there's only 3 fish that are through to the second round. As I said earlier, although many people may be aware of which fish is which and who owns what, it's not correct to mention that at this point in time, so apologies for people that are expecting that information, but it's not something I can say at this moment. But I'm sure people recognise these fish from SNS over the past couple of days. But just jump out the way of the judges. So I think the confusion there in the judging, or in the vote counting, trying to guess, is like I was saying earlier on in the live stream, how many fish move up. It depends on percentages of how many votes each fish got. So it's down to the head judges to decide, and the Shinkokai officials, if some of the fish have clearly not got enough votes that there's no point moving them up, they're clearly not going to get enough votes in a further round, then they won't move forward. So they do have a bit of a formula to work out how many fish move up, and sometimes that takes a bit of time. So I'm sure that's what's happened on this occasion, but I will double check later. So anyway, we've got 3 fantastic fish that have moved up. We'll take another look at them in a minute once the judges have all had their look. So they'll all quickly file past now, so they can get another look at the fish, make their decision, and then on their slip this time they'll just write the pool number 1, 2 or 3, and then those votes will once again be counted, and we're looking for a fish to get over 50% of the votes.
はい、宮本先生、また、先ほどのように成立して、八条さん、すみません、人数確認お願いします。はい、今回の記入は1番、2番、3番、ノミネートのプール番号でお願いします。1番、2番、3番のノミネートのプール番号の記入をお願いします。
Proposing now like nominate 3 koi. Please write down pool number, number 1 or number 2 or number 3. Please write pool number.
Nearly done. Another minute or so and all the judges will have filed past, and we'll take a closer look at the 3 koi while the votes are being counted.はい、次の記入はノミネートプールナンバーです。1番、2
番から3番、こちらをお聞きにお願いします。ノミネートプールナンバーの順になります。よろしくお願いします。
So even the Shinkoku bosses, as you can see, wait their turn before they have a look at the koi themselves.
Only pool number, please.
So this is pool number 3. See if we can squeeze through to pool number 2. And then finally over to pool number 1. Just squeeze our way into the corner. So there you go, that's the 3 koi that have made it through to the second round. So maybe while the votes are being counted, stick in the comments which koi you think would be your choice for Grand Champion, would be interesting to read. Head back round to the front. Tony from Koi Water Barn.
Hi Steve.
You doing?
ちょっとすみません、
Innovation here you're doing?
0と6の、食い違いで、もう1匹ノミネート上がります。もう一度ノミネートプール上がりますので、一回それはちょっと事務局、すみません、回収してください。
So hopefully things will speed up a bit more now. See a lot of the guys, you guys have been on the stream for quite a while now, so thanks for bearing with us. It's just coming up to 50 minutes, which is quite a while just to see a Grand Champion, so appreciate you sticking around. Hopefully things will speed up and it won't be long now. Maybe even this round we'll find out the answer. So I can see a few people have just joined in the stream. So if you just jumped in, we're on the second round of judging. 3 koi have been moved forward and are being voted on, and the votes now are just being counted. So it should only be a minute or so before we hear either a final result or which 2 koi are going to go through to the final round of judging.
カモさん OK でしょうか。はい、じゃあどうもすみませんでした。もう一匹上がりましたので、再チェックの方お願いします。よろしくお願いします。
Check back up. So we do have a third round of judging. So this will be it, the final round, because we now only have 2 koi. No, apologies, totally wrong. They've decided to add a 4th koi into the mix. Certainly something I've never seen in almost 20 years of coming to the show, so that's quite interesting. We'll try and find out the reasons why later, but as I said, there is quite a complex process of deciding how many fish move forward, and typically it would be the time when I'm trying to explain things to people that things go awry, but there you go. Let's take another look at this 4th fish. Sorry, just jump out of someone's way of filming that. So we'll take a quick look through the 4 fish now again, see if that changes anyone's thoughts on their choice for Grand Champion. We'll just wait for the judges to come past again, try not to get in the way. We'll just scoot round the back so that we can take a look at some of the other koi quick, because the judges are in the way there. So. Sorry, a couple of minutes walk, but it will be quicker than just standing there waiting. So Mitsunori Issa there just reminding people that they need to put the pool number down on their slip. Obviously for some people it's their first time judging, especially the foreign judges, so they're not always 100% sure exactly what needs to be. So once again, this is pool number 3. Sorry, the lighting covers the koi a little bit. Scoot round and look at number 2. And back to the Sankei at number 1, tank number 1. So 3 Kohaku, 1 Sankei. So what do you think, guys? Pop a comment in, let us know what you think would be your choice. It'd be interesting to see if that aligns with the next round of voting. So some of the staff just taking a quick look.
ハンドさんみんな OK ですか。はい、それでは、投票を行いたいと思います。また一般先生から。
Right, hopefully this time the votes will be counted and we will get an answer. Sorry for that slight hiccup. As I say, I will find out why later on and pop something in the comments to explain why. So once again, we're looking for one koi needs to receive over 50% of the votes to be crowned Grand Champion. So with 81 judges, we're looking for 41 votes for one koi. Otherwise what will happen is the koi with the lowest votes will be removed and then we'll go to a further round. So for the people that have recently joined, said a couple of times on the stream, we really appreciate some comments. Any questions you've got, please do leave them in the comments. And after the stream ends, I'll try and reply to all of them to make sure that you understand everything that you want to, and appreciate some feedback as well. This is the first time the Shinkoku has decided to do this, so feedback would be good. Any suggestions on how it can be improved, which I'm sure it can be. So yeah, any feedback's good or bad. So leave it in the comments, please. We'll look at it all later on today.
はい、それでは、再投票いたします。次は、1番、2番、4番。1番、2番、4番から選んでください。
So please vote again. Now like three points for nomination. Number 1, number 2, and number 4. Number 1, number 2, number 4.
So that number 3 has been taken out of this next round of judging, as you've just heard.
はい、こういうのをチェックされた審査員の方、もしあれだったらすぐ行ってきてください。この場で OK でしたらということをお願いします。
So once again, the judges will fill out their slip.
1番、2番、
Generally,
4番
because
1番、2番、4番の中から、選択してください。
obviously they've only just looked at the fish, so there's no need for them to file past again. They all know which fish. Realistically, it's only the people that voted for that number 3 that now need to make another decision. So this should speed up a little bit. It shouldn't be too long now before we get a final answer. Which koi is world champion 2024?
なんか今の渡し方、バレンタインチョコレート渡すみたいな。
はい、1番、2番、4番の中から選択してください。繁盛さん、よろしいですか。はい、それでは、再投票を行います。まだ一般の先生よろしくお願いします。
So you're all familiar with this now. Check the box is empty, and then the head judge puts all of their groups slips in the box, and they'll be counted once again. Potentially we could go to one more round here because there's still 3 koi. So we could end up with just 1 koi being removed, or possibly this round could decide things.
はい、では開票を行います。聞こえた方お願いします。
So Tony, while these votes are being counted, hopefully many people recognise Tony from Koi Waterburn.
Hello there.
2006 was it that you won this
Yeah, we
this
were
show?
honoured to be able to be the first Western supplier of the world champion. Yeah, similar kind of process. At that time, I was very, very anxious, waiting for the votes to be counted. I think on that particular occasion, it was pretty much a landslide. But they're very tough competition this year, Steve. Very tough.
Yeah.
4 Sakai koi, down to 3 Sakai koi now. So let's see what does it. I just chatted to Kentro. He's very happy, obviously, but still anxious to see which is going to do the business for him.
Yeah, and you must know what this moment feels like. You know, when you're in the running and.
Yeah, I was in the running in 2005.
Yeah.
Maratenka Haku, and we was pretty sure it was going to win, and it lost by 1 vote, which was heartbreaking for us. But yeah, we managed to dust ourselves off, get back up, and do it the next year.
Yeah,
So,
nice.
yeah.
Brilliant.
Awesome stuff Steve's doing here. It must be very, very difficult for you to capture everything. And I've heard you speaking, and you're getting it bang on, guys. So. Please,
I appreciate it.
Like
Thanks.
and share and do whatever you need to do for Steve. Thanks.
Yeah, it's nice to share it with people, try and explain things, and
So they know what's going on.
yeah, hopefully won't be too much longer now, and they'll get the answer they've all been sat around waiting for.
I don't know if you can get Kentro's face there. It's a picture. But...
It's kind of difficult to capture it like without zooming in. Let's see if we can creep round and. Hopefully just see him down the end.
はい、再投票を行います。次は1番、2番、1番か2番の番号を書いてください。
So we do still have one more round of judging to
Final
go.
ball, number 1 or number 2. Final ball against 1 or 2.
Yeah, Daisuke from Momotaro is just giving you the explanation, but in case the microphone didn't pick that up, we now have just between VATs 1 and 2. So between the Sankei and the Kohaku. So this will be a few minutes and you will finally know which koi is world champion 2024. What happens after this is the next round is for what's called the Jumbo Champion, but hopefully the name of that will change next year because it's a little bit confusing. Most of us, certainly in the Western world, associate Grand Champion with just being, Jumbo Champion with just being the biggest koi, but that's not the case at this show. In fact, there isn't actually a Jumbo award at all. Many people think that there's 2 prizes, Mia Hideo and Yoshida Hiroshi awards, but there's a little bit more to those awards than them just being jumbo, so that there is actually no award for just the biggest koi at this show. Jumbo koi is actually what we would call the reserve Grand Champion. So that judging will take place directly after this, and it comes from the other koi that are nominated for this award for the Grand Champion. So from the 3 remaining koi.
はい、それでは、投票を行います。ま まず一般の先生から投票の方よろしくお願いします。
So once again, all the judges didn't need to check the koi again. They all know them. They've looked at them a couple of times now. So they just make their decision. Anyone that had voted for the last fish that was removed will now just make their choice for which one. And then finally we will know. Interesting to see a lot more people joining now, which is great. Thank you very much. Maybe you guys are a little bit more experienced at what happens at the judging and knew that this might take a while. So you're joining at just the right moment, because probably in the next minute or two we will know which koi is Grand Champion, effectively World Champion. Obviously talking to Tony just now, he did actually mention that both fish, or all the fish, were from Sakai Fish Farm, so you can see Kentro at the end. Interesting expression. I guess for him it's quite interesting to see how his fish are rated by other professionals. You know, obviously he has his choice in his head of which koi he thinks would be the Grand Champion. It's interesting to see if his peers agree with him. So I guess we're at the point now where any information can't really influence anything, as the final votes have been cast. So the difference, I mean, both koi are from Sakai Fish Farm. The difference between them is one was entered by Kentro himself by Sakai Fish Farm, and the other koi has actually been entered by Narita Koi Farms. The Sankeis come directly from Sakai, and the Kohaku is entered by Narita Koi Farms. So there'll be a little bit of rivalry there between the two of them as to which one of them could condition the fish best for the show. You know, although obviously Kentro is going to be happy no matter what, having been the breeder of the Grand Champion. There'll still be a little bit of friendly rivalry over which one of them managed to bring a koi in the best condition and get the votes. So we'll see in a few moments. Maybe try and stand in a place where we can pick up Kentro and Ryuki at the same point as the decision is announced.
はい、それでは、全体総合決まりました。第54回全日本総合錦鯉品評会、全体総合優勝は受付番号2035、紅白2番プールの声に決定いたしました。ありがとうございます。
So there you go, guys. The Kohaku is World Champion 2024.
代表総合の審査に入ります。今決まった2番プール以外の、声ですね。1番、3番、4番、こちらの中から、再投票していただきますので、すいません、チェックしなくてよろしいでしょうか。はい、じゃあそれでは投票用紙の方、すいません、お願いします。
So Ryuki managed to keep a straight face for about 20 seconds before breaking out into a smile.
Next ball is for first runner-up, Jumbo Champion. Group number 134. 134 for first runner-up, Jumbo Champion.
So there you go. As I was saying just now, while we were waiting, the judging now will be for the what they call the Jumbo Champion, which is the reserve Grand Champion in most people's understanding. So while they're doing that, we'll go and take a proper look at the 2024 Grand Champion of the All Japan Koi Show. They'll just be moving it over into the centre vat. You'll see everybody knows Jane and Liam from World of Nishikigoi magazine in the UK. Just getting some good snaps as koi's placed into the prior to place pool for the weekend. So there you go, guys. 2024 World Champion. Sakai Fish Farm Kohaku, handled by Narita Koi Farms. Sorry guys, to try and get a bit more of a close-up outside of the aeration area. So there we have it. We'll keep the live stream going for this, the runner-up award effectively. Let's go back and see what's happening with the judging. What will be interesting for those of you that like the sort of kind of the detail of this is you would like to think that because of the way the judging went for Grand Champion, that the Sankei would automatically become the reserve Grand Champion. But quite often that's not the case. May well find that one of the other two koi takes that award. It all depends on you know, the decisions of people that voted for the Grand Champion, which koi they consider is the second best koi. Maybe their choice will be one of the Kohaku, so it's quite an interesting vote to watch. Gives you an insight into the thoughts of the professionals in the industry.
はい、代表の結果を報告します。大河総合優勝、1番プール2297大将3件に決定いたしました。おめでとうございます。
There you go, so just to totally contradict what I said. As I was saying, to totally contradict what I just suggested, in this instance the Sankei has been voted the Reserve Grand Champion, the Jumbo Champion to give it its official name. So for now the judges are going to get a little bit of a short break and then they'll be off to start judging their respective groups. So we'll take a look at the Reserve Grand Champion in a bit more close up and before we end the live stream. Guys, just moving the fish now. There we go. So there we go. As you can see, a huge body on this fish. Okay guys, so for those of you still on the stream, thank you very much for staying with it and completing it to the end. So that's the primary judging completed now. The guys are all off doing the judging for the remainder of the day. So once again, thanks very much for joining in. Please leave any feedback, any suggestions you have, and any questions, stick those in the comments, and I will try and answer them later today. So for now, goodbye from the Ryutsu Centre in Tokyo, and hopefully we'll try and bring you a bit more coverage throughout the weekend. So thanks a lot, guys.